Damn.
Well, the rest of stuff.
This works. Let's see.
Is it working?
Having some technical difficulties. I'm not sure yet if it's working or not.
Hey, good.
I think there might be a serious lag, like a minute lag or something.
Do you have a shoot going on?
No.
Okay. All right, just make a chair. Yeah, he's gonna do some live video feed, so I just want to make sure we weren't in the way. Yeah.
Having some technical difficulties. I'm not sure yet if it's working. It's like a minute behind is the only thing, so
Okay. I see.
so I'm not sure what to do. I guess I'll just be a little minute behind for this time around.
Is that music too loud?
I don't know. Just enjoy it.
Well, I'll shut this if you want.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's going to be like 5-10 minutes. I'm still trying to figure out if this is even going to work. I sure hope it does, but I don't know. This is going to be as new for you as it is for me, so. What I think we have right now is like a minute delay or something. It looks like to be about a minute delay. Woo. Let me see if I can get some angles. Let's go right here. Well, let's see. If you're just joining us, welcome. I'm just a floating head right now. I'm just trying to make sure that the stream is even feeding right. So if you're on the Flowtricks page, could you leave a comment? Drop a comment if you can hear the feed. See the feed? I'm going to type it first. As long as I know the feed's going through, then I don't have to type anymore and I can just respond to you guys back. It looks like there might be like a 1 minute delay. That's 2 with fingers. It looks like there might be a 1 minute delay here, but I'm not entirely sure yet. I'll just keep my eyes on the feed and hoping everything looks like it should be feeding right. Let's see. I also have group chat on. So you can respond here if you see it. Bam! Okay. Sure hope this works. If you can see anything, let me know if it's too dark or too bright. I also have, or anything like that. I'm just, like I said, this is still kind of new, so this is like a brand new venture, and I've never even done this. I probably should have tested it out, but I tested it out the best I could, I guess. I figured, why not test it out for like in front of all the subscribers on YouTube first. I'm gonna post it on Facebook too here. See if this goes through. There's Facebook. Internet's going really slow. I'm just kind of meditating, don't mind me. It should be on. Should be on. Okay, I'm gonna do a little more typing, so you're just gonna see the top of my head here. If you go here, I'm not entirely sure if it works. Entirely sure if this works. So please let me know in the chat window. Bam. All right, let's see. As soon as I can see that one person is responding back, then I will I probably should have tested this more. I'm not sure if this is working. Yeah, can you figure out how to do a live stream within 2 minutes?
I think hit the live stream button.
I don't know where that button's at. That's why it's not working. Where is that live stream button? I think it's working, but I don't know. It says I have no viewers. I have 0 viewers right now, but it says it's live. So that means it works, right?
I'm guessing.
Yeah. But I got no messages saying that. I don't know. That's the confusing part. Well, okay. Looks like I got 3 viewers. Yes, they're watching me cut my hair like a dog.
Let me know if you see anything.
Yeah, I need to figure out how this live stream works.
Well, I don't know.
Oh, you're gonna cut my hair like a dog and maybe there's some magic. Oh, okay. All right. We're gonna figure this out. If you can, if you can see this live stream, try to find a way to let me know. I have my Flowtricks page open, and I have the Nunchaku Tricks discussion page on Facebook open, and I also have the Google Hangouts chat window open. I don't know if it's too dark or if it's even working. I know, yeah, I probably should have tested this technology. That's why I said I wasn't sure if it was even going to blow up. This was kind of like a test just to see, but man, what can I say? It's 1 million views. I've got to at least try. Let me know. I'll teach you how to do this move. The infinite X catch. Tries to entice you. All right. Or maybe it's too choppy. Let me know if it's too choppy. Definitely. I just need to see if this works, period. See the gunslinger? Ugh. Let's see. The moment I hear from one human being, I will be a happy camper. Till then, I'm just going to keep staring at my computer. I don't know. Let's see. So I'm going to scroll down to the bottom, and nothing yet. Perfect. Thank you, Joey. That's all I wanted to know. All right. So I have a live stream going, and I'm going to go back here. Welcome to the Flowtricks live stream. I just wanted to officially thank you for 1 million views. That is so awesome. I wanted to do this live stream so I could make this a little more interactive between me and you. So on the Flowtricks page, I put a chat box on the left side. But I'm also on Google Hangouts, and I'm not sure exactly how to get there yet because I'm still pretty new to this whole live streaming thing. I just got this webcam a few days ago. So if you can find a way that you can, I'm not sure exactly how to get that chat to work, but what I kind of wanted to do is answer your questions and, I don't know, celebrate. So I figured instead of me trying to like get a bunch of questions from the internet, you know, well, this is the internet, get a bunch of questions like from Facebook and then you wait 2 weeks, 3 weeks to a month, I can actually answer interactively, and we might even be able to, as I do the move, I could better explain some things that may not be making sense. So just let me know if this is coming in okay. And thank you, Joey. That's exactly what I was looking for. I just needed someone to tell me that the stream was looking okay at first. That way I knew that I could at least go forward. But yeah, if it needs to be a little bit brighter or if it's a little choppy or anything like that, just kind of let me know because this is so new to me right now. Until then, I'm going to take one more look at the feed. And I guess what I'm going to do for now, until I see, let me just check one more time. These pauses, man. I'm going to tell you what, though. If this really works, live streaming is going to be awesome because I'll be able to, I don't know, I can personally watch you guys. Hopefully I'll be able to see your feed eventually. I figured there might be too much if I had like 20, 30 people watching or even 100 people watching tonight, but eventually we'll be able to use live streams to, you know, address you personally from across the world or across the states at least, and I think that'd be most excellent for sure. What I'm going to do for now, though, give me just a minute here. I'm going to assume that there's going to be people watching, unless I see a question on the Nunchaku Tricks discussion board on Facebook, or if I see something on the Google Hangouts, or if I see something on so many things, the Flowtricks page. I'm going to just like start going through some sort of guided training. I'm just basically going to train, and I'll kind of talk you through some of the things that I do to train. And then if you have any questions at all, though, because I'm going to check periodically, and so you can stop me. So I'm just looking for some music here. So I guess we should go to rule number 1. Rule number 1 is to have good music. Man, I can't tell you how much like a song has changed the way that I've felt like I was training or performing. And different songs will actually give you different types of training, but I can't connect to my music right now. So forget it, I'm just going to talk to you guys. So whenever you train, here's something that you should try, okay? You probably listen to your favorite music already, right? But what you might not have done is started experimenting with other kinds of songs. The reason why you'd experiment with other kinds of songs is because when you get too used to your music, you may even fall into a pattern. You can associate music with moves. And if you do it in that way, then as you try out different styles of music into your spinning, it'll remind you, it'll almost be like an anchor, and it'll remind you to do those particular moves for that particular style. So yes, I'm telling you, you You should spin to a country song, you should spin to a cello, you should spin to rap, you should spin to rock, to anything you can get your hands on, at least once. I mean, it might be ridiculous and you may never do it again, but you need to try and see what you can discover by listening to the music and letting it flow through you and feeling like what techniques feel more natural. Now, what techniques feel natural, of course, is something that you train, but at the same time, when you are in that, we have the train state, the play state, and the flow state. When you're in the flow state and when you're in the play state, you can start retraining different styles for those movements. It's definitely something to think about for sure. All right, I am going to check and see if we have any questions so far. I'm really glad the feed is going through. I apologize about the delay here. I'm just going to check here. Make a quick check and make a quick shout out. I'm going to do one quick Facebook shout out just in case there are people that are not finding any of this right now. Sorry, it's going to be just one more minute here. We can extend the feed if you want. But it definitely send me a message right now if you need to know anything, because I got this hour. I dedicated this hour for you guys, so I want to hear it all. As soon as I figure out these technical difficulties. All right, let's see. I think this is it. In just a minute here. I must apologize. Live events. It's quite wild. Like, this whole thing is really awesome and wild and confusing. Definitely send me a message right now if you need. Okay. I'm going to post this on Facebook, and I'm live streaming some Nunchaku talk. Come on in if you're here for the next hour. I may extend it a little bit longer just because we're having kind of a late start. I'm going to put that in Nunchaku Chicks discussion just to make sure. And also on the Nunchaku Tricks page. Nunchaku Tricks. What I find is interesting is that I don't really know. I didn't have anything to talk about specifically when I started this. There. Okay, so I posted it all over the place. Okay, by the way, I'm in the back end of Falcon Studio. We actually, if you open up these gates and you go back there, we have a little training facility that we opened up in Omaha, which I think everyone's pretty excited about. So I wanted to get back to talking to you about training. And I also want to just make sure you drop me a line if you have any questions right now, or if anything else you need. Okay, I think I could spend the whole time just playing with the technical problems and the technical thoughts on this, so let me just get back to spinning. So I think the first thing that you want to do is you want to try to pick out some really good music, and you also want to try to vary up your music just to see if, like, perhaps a different style will actually unlock different moves for you. And then as you go through your training, you can actually go through those different styles of moves with many props, not just nunchucks. The next thing that I want to talk about is also your location. For instance, when I'm in a place like this, I actually feel like very sharp in this place. Like, it feels just this. I think it's because of the harsh lighting and the dark, very contrasty atmosphere. But you'll notice that if you spin, for instance, at a playground, or if you spin, I don't know, on top of a roof or by the ocean, you're actually going to have different energies because of the atmosphere that's around you. I highly encourage you to soak that up. If you use that in conjunction with music, you almost have two different dimensions that you can play with, which is location, which is your visual atmosphere, and then you also have sound, which is your audio atmosphere. And you can actually, it's almost like you're cooking and you're taking like a pinch of this and a pinch of that and seeing like how it tastes or what you can make. So I would say the second thing that you want to think about while you're training is going to be your location. So you've got Music is 1, location is 2. By the way, I'm making this up as I go along. I'm just like, what else? Like I'm like thinking this up on the fly. It's pretty funny. Number 3, of course, is going to have a variety of nunchucks. I don't really need to get into that too much. Just know like foam nunchucks, fire nunchucks, oak nunchucks. Are they tapered? Tapered means they're like heavy at the end. Tapered ones will allow you to do a lot more momentum style moves. So we can do some like really awesome like throws across the waist, or we can actually do like contact moves a lot easier. But if you have lighter nunchucks, they can be more redirectable, so you can do fast and furious hyper style or anything like that. So another one, of course, is going to be your prop itself. So now we have how it feels, which is the prop. What's around you, like what you see, you know, your visual, and what you hear. Now we can't get all the senses. I mean, taste is not really one that I think could work very good. But I guess we're using this 2 analogy between those 3 to give you a different combination, of course. Before you first start, now I've covered this already, but it's always good to get a good warm-up. And man, as I've gotten older, it's been like so much more important for that. I'm going to take a quick check here and just make sure I don't have any messages or anything here. Otherwise, I'm going to get right back to it. Okay. Okay, well, we're going to get back to it. So, we got, remember, you can write me anytime. I'm not sure how yet. Like I said, we have Google Hangouts. I have my Facebook open, and I also have the Flowtricks page open. So you can choose any of the 3, especially if you have any questions, especially if you have questions about like upcoming Flowtricks videos. We have so much to cover with that. Right now, though, until I hear something, I'm just going to keep going on about training, okay? So you have a good song playing, and right now my music just stopped working, so I don't have the time to like get it fixed. I think it's kind of funny too, because a lot of times when I make videos, something almost always breaks. But it's nothing that like you'll realize in the background. It's just like, you know, it'll just be like a delay in the video is all. But it's over here, it's like things are exploding and breaking. It's almost like an action movie, and I can't share it with you because maybe my camera just broke, or maybe I threw my chucks and busted something, you know. It's kind of funny. I'm sure no one's ever had that experience before. Another good rule about training is tempo. Tempo is a really important thing. So let's say number 4 is tempo. What I mean to say by tempo is a lot of times, especially with nunchucks, we get in a certain speed. And once you get in that speed, everything becomes very automatic. Which is nice. But speed, I mean, the thing that you actually want to create, and this is if you're a performer, I guess, less than if you're spinning for yourself. But if you are spinning for others, contrast is a huge deal. For instance, right now, if you're watching me right now, you'll notice there's a lot of contrast because of this extremely bright light. And it's the same thing like as you're spinning. If you create a slow motion in accordance with the fast, you basically have created the fast and the slow, and you've created a contrast between the 2. If you think of it like music, or if you think of it like anything, like if you think of a conversation, you don't just, if you need to talk to someone, you don't usually just punch them with everything. You just slowly, gradually bring it on, and the conversation like becomes an organic thing. Kind of the same thing with speed too. I want you to be kind of conscious about your speed as you're training the same techniques. So, for instance, if we're doing a figure, a front to front, this is all fine and dandy, but also make sure you can do an extra slow one and then an extra fast one. And incorporate that with your training. So we're training boom, 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 back, slow, back to fast, slow. And watch how it accentuates certain moves. Of course, a lot of times I use a stall or a catch to accentuate. So I'll create a very fast motion, and then I'll stop. You know, I'll do a clutch or something that stops the motion. This will create so much more dynamic than if you're fast the whole time. If you think of it like this, if you think of an auctioneer like does not necessarily tell as good of a story as someone who has a fluctuation, someone that tells it low and then big and then small and then big. You know, it's that dynamic that brings it to life. Because that's kind of what we're trying to do, right? We're trying to take motion and turn it into an art form. So I'm probably rambling a lot. That's perfectly okay. That's what you get for watching my live stream. Okay. All right, Emiko's here. What's up? You are the first to reply on here. So originally I had thought about just making a stream just for myself and then a chat room because I wasn't sure how many people would be there, but if we end up with like 10 or less people, I think we might be able to just do this gigantic video chat next time, you know, where we could see everyone's screen and I could like watch what you're spinning and vice versa, and we could just like spin together like we're all in the room, except for we have an expensive laptop that we can slam and destroy. And that brings me to another thing that I've been thinking about, but I haven't really like worked it out yet, which is we all have laptops right now or some sort of really expensive computer. I was thinking, how cool would it be to have, like, create some sort of mold that you put over your laptop, so if your nunchucks fly at your laptop, it takes the hit. I mean, you would think it wouldn't be that hard. You'd just kind of create like this sheet of hard plastic that would kind of fall over the laptop or the monitor. I think that would be really, really awesome. I just don't know how to build one, but I would definitely be down if someone could tell me how to get one of those things. I think Flowtricks would love to get them, since we're going to do so much video tutorials and hopefully more live streaming. I definitely think that we need to find a way to protect our monitors. Until then, though, just be really careful, because I don't want to see pictures of your shattered laptop or your shattered computer. I feel bummed. I'm going to pull this up a little bit. Okay, so we were going over, as I was saying, welcome back if you're just joining us. What we were going over basically was a few of the concepts. I was basically just rambling and talking. I had nothing planned. I figured I'd come in here, we'd get some viewers, and they would just flood me with questions, and I would say, hey, this is the answer to this, and then I'd show it. But I really haven't had any questions, so all I've been doing is just kind of talking about like ways that you can better do your training. But if you do have any questions at all, hold on. Wait, sorry. I gotta slow it down again here. Okay, so right now, I'm sorry, it takes me a while because I haven't perfected how we're gonna chat yet. I thought the Flowtricks page would be a good one, but it turns out actually it's a little bit trickier than I thought. Joey Marsden asked me, hey Ken, have the police ever hassled you about carrying nunchucks or anything? No, the answer is no, but I live in Nebraska, so there was no laws against Nunchaku. Now, if you come from a state like California or New York, it's actually a felony. I mean, I think it's ridiculous, of course, because this is you know, a performance art, but I can say that because it's outlawed in so many places, I'm very careful to have chucks that disassemble. Now, these, like most regular chucks like these, do not disassemble, but what you can do, if you're in one of those countries or locations, is you can at least clip it when you're not using it. So basically you get a pair of wire cutters, and you would cut right there. You cut that middle link out. You cut it so it's two pieces, and then you go to your hardware store and you get a very small quick link. A quick link is just, it basically looks like a chain, but it's something that you could use as pliers, and you can actually tighten it so it becomes like you can open and close it by screwing and unscrewing it. In that way, whenever you have nunchucks, you can always just assemble them with a quick link, do your spinning, and then when you're all done, detach them. In Nebraska, I can spin nunchucks at the park, but I've definitely heard of other people that are scared to just go outside with a pair of nunchucks just because of the legalities of it. Honestly, I think it's silly. And honestly, I'm hoping that Nunchaku Tricks and Flowtricks is going to help stop that from happening, because the more people that are spinning nunchucks as an art, I mean, the more that we're going to create this awareness for it. I think part of the problem is, and it's not really a problem, I mean, martial artists have been using nunchucks for a long time, but so have gangs. And I think that the fact that people have used this as a violent weapon is what makes it so dangerous. But truth be told, why would this be more like illegal than a sword? Like, it doesn't make any sense, right? It's two sticks on a chain. Yeah, I could strangle you, but you could chop my head off. So, yeah, I never quite understood that. Let me check here. I got another one, I believe. Sorry, it's going to be just uno momento. Anything you want to ask, I will answer. I will be more than happy to answer. I'm sorry about this whole, the chat thing isn't quite working the way I thought it would. I thought I'd just go to the chat room and it would just be like piece of cake, but it's okay. Like, I think for the first time in progress, it's actually working pretty good. So we're going to go back until I see more questions. So right now we have, what do we have? We have good music. Be sure that you change your music up, and it'll actually change the techniques that'll come to you. So be sure to always explore new music. Second one was location. Be sure to go to different areas. Like, for instance, this place has a lot of contrast. I feel a lot of grounded power coming from here. So I will actually probably spin faster in an area like this than I would at a park. And I totally spin differently by a lake or a waterfall too. So that's the next thing that you want to consider. Another thing that you want to consider, of course, is different types of chucks. Again, like right now, I've got the foams, which are excellent for a high-speed spin. But if I had, for instance, you know, taper chucks, I definitely would change my style. I do a lot less hyper, and I do a lot more hand rolls, things that involve momentum that allow you to just keep them spinning and rotating. And then also, of course, you've got 14-inch chucks, which is great for contact, 12-inch chucks, which are just the standard chuck, and then you also have the 10-inch tech chuck, which allows you to do a lot of the inside motions. We haven't really gone over this move here. I think by the end of the class, though, I am going to show you the infinite horizontal wrist roll for anyone that happens to stay. This is the infinite horizontal. It is not an easy move at all. So you make sure you know the X catch first. And I'm sorry, it's the infinite horizontal X catch. Boom. There's actually a lot of variations to it. But there's some really cool things that you can do. Like I've been exploring doing infinite horizontal X to create almost like a box or an X. We'll go over that soon, though. Until I see more questions, I'm going to just keep on going. All right, let me just read up on this again. So, Enrico says, we can only have them in our property in the UK, but at least they're legal. Lol, happy with that thought though, hee hee. That's, yeah, especially if a big property, right? I still think it's silly, myself. I think I could do just as much damage with pulling than I could with the nunchuck. I'm just saying. Okay. So we've got, after we have the different types of chucks, I was also talking about tempo variation. So be sure that you create a contrast with your performance. So that way, as you're going fast, slow it down for a second. When you have slow, it makes your fast even faster. Another thing that we want to talk about is how your body communicates. You know, I'm really big about like having your body communicate. And what I mean by that is like make sure that some people are actually, and I'll still see people that look down at their feet. Make sure that your shoulders and your chest are broadcasting out. Almost think like your chest, the middle of your chest is like a spotlight, and you're trying to beam it out at people. You just want to feel that you just want to feel everything open up. Plus, you'll actually I feel like you can feel the energy of a room a lot more like with your chest out than if it's sunken down. That's not to say that you'll ever do that, but to me, this feels like a withdrawal of energy. So like, as I sink down, like especially if I'm performing, if I sink down, it's almost like either I'm gathering or I'm pulling inward. It's almost like the surge of energy is pulling in, you know, Dragon Ball Z style. You could always explode outward later, right? So again, that's the contrast that we're talking about, right? But if you keep your chest up and out and watch your feet, I kind of want to see if we can let's take a look at the feet. Let's take a look at our feet, guys. I'm watching the videos. I love them, but sometimes, if you just watch your feet, I'm spinning nunchucks right now, and this is kind of what I see sometimes. I'm not trying to make fun. I'm just telling you, this is kind of what I see. Or and I guess what I'm trying to say is, if you make a motion, right, the idea is that you make everything an extension of you. So your feet become an extension to your nunchuck. It's kind of in the same way how if I was throwing punches, my feet are in accordance with my punch, and that's what gives me the most power, right? Because I feel it in my toes, and I move my toe over, and I push out, it goes to my hip, ripples up my arm, through my elbow, all the way to the end of my fist, bam! And then you have your power, right? Well, it's kind of the same thing as you're spinning nunchucks. Something that you can try to do is try to make sure that you have that connection. So as you're spinning, watch. Man, I wish maybe I can get this whole thing in better. Let me stand back and see. So if you're spinning, your feet, even if you're moving or dropping, even if you're moving, they're not just moving to move, they're moving to flow. Oops. They're moving to flow with your whole body. So if you're not sure how to begin that, and we can work on this a little bit more too, stand with your feet kind of shoulder width apart. And what you're going to do is you're going to take your palms, you're going to open them up. You're just going to be like, imagine that you're almost like, imagine that there's water everywhere and you're almost holding the waves of water through your body. What I'm trying to get you to do is to imagine how it all connects, because sometimes the feet are not connected to the body and you can see it. Another time, just use spinners and they're just pulling, like everything is like right there. You can just feel it, like that body connection. So what we're going to do is we're just going to do circles around the body, but there's a difference. We're going to try to connect it with our feet as we do these circles. Here's a non-connected circle if you don't use your feet. It'll look like this. See, like I can walk around. This is a very uncommitted circle, right? So what I'm trying to get you to do is get your feet shoulder width apart, kind of bend your knees a little bit, and as it comes down, you're going to bend your knees a little bit more, and you're going to try to see if you can feel it all the way down to your toes as you're moving. It's going to be a lot easier if you do one at a time. So now we're going to start doing this. We're going to go split time. Basically, that means when this one's at the top, this one starts at the bottom. All we're going to do is we're just going to try to move with our hands. However you do it, you don't have to do it like me. Essentially, what you're going to do is you're going to feel it all the way to your toes and see if you can just find where that connection point is. The beauty of it is you'll know when you're not hitting it the moment you actually hit it. The moment you hit it one time, you'll say, oh my God, everything felt so connected all the way from my toe to my fingertip. Then you'll know where that connection point is. And the audience may not even see it, but you can feel it. And if you can feel it, you can project it. Or this. See, like your feet actually say a lot. Your feet say a lot more than you think, right? Same motion, connected, disconnected. Now you can totally disconnect too. In Tai Chi Chuan you do that. Or when you're doing martial arts, you disconnect your legs so you can actually throw blocks as you charge into someone. But in terms of flow arts, and when people watch you, I generally appreciate it when I see that whole connection. It just looks so amazing. I think that's something that dancers and martial artists have had to build, but it's something that can be trained with anyone. Let me see. All right, so Enrico says, I spin in the garden, man. I ain't smashing no lights. That's good. All right, let's see. Sorry, it's going to be a moment here. I'm just checking to see what else we got going on. Just a minute here while I read to see what people are saying. He's on. Yes, he's on. And madness. All right, let's see. Did you see the footage of Bruce Lee playing ping pong with Nunchaku? Have you ever considered trying anything like that? Yeah, no, to be honest. I have played a little bit with nunchucks and ping pongs. There's a guy named Victor who does it wonderfully, though. It's just nothing that I've really played a lot with. Mostly I feel like my specialty is going to be actually fire nunchucks, like lighting them on fire and doing a demonstration. I feel like, hey, what's up? Come here, come here. This is Falcon, everyone.
Hey.
Falcon is going to be the hoop. Oh, just stand back. You have like half a head. Falcon's going to be the hoop instructor for Flowtricks. So if you're ever thinking about learning hula hoop, even if you're a dude, it's totally cool, right?
Definitely.
Guys can do?
Absolutely.
Yeah, good. You heard it. She knows. She knows what's up. Here's this Falcon. She'll be with Flowtricks, but she's leaving now. All right. But no, I've only just done I've only done ping pong balls just kind of as for fun, as a joke. But I definitely know like I said, there's a guy named Victor on Nunchaku Tricks. He's just awesome at it. So you should definitely hit him up about something like that. I think I saw a question about a technique. How do you do a behind the back aerial and explain the infinite wave again? Boy, okay, behind the back aerial. Well, I mean, there's several different ways to do a behind the back aerial, but I'm thinking what you're thinking about is the behind the back 360 turn aerial, which is my absolute favorite. Let's go over and I'll show you why it's so awesome. It's actually a lot easier than you think, but you have to be very, very straight to do it. So if I have my nunchuck in my right hand and I'm going counterclockwise, like so, as soon as it hits 12 o'clock, which is right here, I'm going to turn 180 degrees, okay? Now I'm going to turn with my right foot, if it's my right hand. So I'm going to turn around for a second. So if my right hand is spinning it and I'm going counterclockwise, I'm going to use my right foot and I'm going to turn 180 degrees like this. That's the first step to it. So make sure that you can spin it behind your back like this, okay? The second step to it is as soon as you're about here, about 9 o'clock, you're just going to swing it down, and you're going to take your left arm and you're going to pull it backwards. So the reason why you pull it backwards is because you have to train your aim for this shot. And actually, I find that pulling your arm backwards will actually train your aim better. First, I'm going to do it from a back shot, and then I'll show you from a side shot what it looks like. And essentially, so I'm going to do it again here. We're going to go counterclockwise, turn, shoot right there. If you look to the side, I'm going like this. My arm is going like this. My hand is taking a straight shot straight through right here. You see how straight it is? It should actually come and hit like right here on the top of my shoulder. That means if I let go, it's going to fly straight. See that? See, if I don't have my arm back there, sometimes people will throw it, but it's actually angled all the way back here, and it's going to fly somewhere way over there. So I use this arm as like a trap to keep me on track because there's a very small space here. So as you go straight up, the only way the nunchuck can be is this high. So, again, I'm going to do this from a side view for a second here. I got my right hand. Actually, I'm going to do it this way. Got my right hand like this. Okay, we're spinning it. It's going counterclockwise. Take my right foot, turn 180 degrees. My left arm checks back, and you're going to feel it right here. Now, as soon as it's right about at 9 o'clock, my middle finger and my thumb are going to give it a tiny flick. Flick. It's going to be the flick that makes it actually stay in the air. If you don't give a flick, it's going to fly that direction because you're sending it this way. I mean, there's a lot of motion this way. What that flick does is it takes all that momentum and just kind of bends it up like that. So your arm is pulling it this way, and then that flick pulls it that way. So here, spin, check ready. Here, flick. And then once you do the flick, you turn and you grab it. If you do it right, and if your nunchuck is straight, it's just going to fly very straight like that. It's going to go straight up and down. Because, like I said, using your arm is going straight up and down like this. There's only one way it will go, which is straight up and down. So essentially, that's how you're going to do it. Again, right here, 180 degrees. Arm goes behind you. You're ready. Flick, turn, grab with the same hand. The reason why you grab with the same hand is because then you can do it multiple times. And drop. You didn't see that. Okay. And hold on one second here. We got a couple more things from different areas. Let's see. So, I'm going to go back here. Oh, the infinite wave. You and your infinite wave. I played with the infinite wave for a little bit because I thought it was I'm always exploring new moves, and half the moves that I explore I don't do all the time, but yeah, okay. So the Infinitewave, how do I explain this? I've explained it on YouTube before. I'm just trying to think of the best way to actually tell you what's happening. But I think I've realized what you need to do, Enrico. You might need to wait. And the reason why I say you might need to wait is because what you should learn, well, they have a YouTube tutorial on this, but if you want to learn the Infinitewave, learn how to do a butterfly with poi first, because essentially what you're doing is a one-handed butterfly, but you're using nunchucks. So, because that's, let me show you. A butterfly with poi looks like this. You have two poi and they're going into each other, see? It's actually just like an Infinitewave, except for my hands are breaking apart, so it's actually easier with two poi. Of course, nowadays, the poi people are doing the same thing. They're using one hand and stringing two poi, and they're doing that too. But if you can learn to do it this way first, you'll eventually figure out how to transfer it to one hand. But first do it with two hands. And to do that, you're going to need double chucks. This is a nice move anyways for chucks, like I said, because you can, like in the video, you can do front-to-front hand rolls, which I always like to do. So you can go straight into unwinders. I have two totally different weights here. And I see another question. Let me check here. So I hope you guys are getting a lot out of this session. If you guys do like it, just let me know. Okay, good. Enrico says he can do. It's both on check on play. That's my problem. Yeah, I don't know, Enrico. You're the only one. There's only two people. Only two people answering on this video feed right now. But I'm guessing that a lot of people maybe are just watching, and they're not really. They just want to see what this is all about. But I still have about 25 minutes of questions. So whoever wants to pick my brain, just keep going with it. I said you should do you should learn the butterfly poi first. You should learn the Infinitewave with your poi first. Gosh, I can't talk today. You should learn the Infinitewave with poi first, or with two nunchucks first, because it's going to be the same timing. So if you can think of it like that, you can still think about it. Even if you use two hands on one chuck, you can still think about how the Infinitewave would move. It'd be like this. Matter of fact, if you have two underhand grips, you can mimic an Infinitewave with two hands, and you can create a very visual style of motion. And it's still cool because you can stop it. And you have the Z threads and stuff like that. You can actually just play around with how the nunchuck bends by just having two underhand grips. And the Infinitewave is basically a mimic of this. So if you can do it slowly, boom, boom, I'm going to stand back. If you can do it slowly, you should be able to do it quickly too. Or at least have an idea for how it needs to go. Watch your hands and watch how this moves, because remember, what's probably going to catch you is the fact that these have to be sideways. They have to pass by each other. There are two lanes that the Infinitewave has to move in order for them to not hit each other. Because if you're doing the Infinitewave and they crash into each other just like the butterfly, they'll stop. So as you're doing your Infinitewave, make sure that there's enough space for them to pass by each other as they go through. They need to pass, they can't crash. Hopefully that makes sense. Another thing I can tell you is if you're using heavier chucks, it works. The Infinitewave is so much better than if you're using light chucks. So if you have float toys, I mean, this isn't really heavy, but this is heavier than foam, just the way the weight is distributed. That's going to help you. That's going to like actually go in your favor. Now, let me see what the next question is. Yeah, I know, Enrico, you're the only one posting on that and in the Flowtricks forum, but I'm getting a couple of messages at least. That's pretty cool. You know, and one thing I didn't also check is the YouTube channel. I'm wondering if people are like posting in there. Give me a second. Heavier chucks, it works. The Infinitewave is so much better than if you're using light chucks. So, oh, cool. If you have, all right, people say it's working. Okay, well, I'm going to get back to explaining other things that you can do to improve your spinning. So we went over, what did we do? We did tempo variation, we did choosing the right chuck, we did location, we did choosing different kinds of music. Oh, and we also did the connection between your feet and your body and what that kind of creates. Another one is also being able to extend and knowing when to extend or knowing when you want to extend. And what I mean by extend is even something simple as a circular spin can have a huge difference if you're spinning out or in, you know? So if you're spinning in, it's almost always very tight. Like usually when I'm going in, it's very tight. But as I go out, I tend to slow it down more. Out is big. And a matter of fact, if you ever do a big show, like sometimes, you know, I'm out there doing shows and there might be 5,000, 10,000 people watching. They don't see the intricacies of this at all. You know, because they could be extremely far away. If they're in the back of the line, they're not going to see that at all. So when you're really close, like when you got a camera, I mean, nothing's better than getting up to a camera and being like, finger my nips, you know? Boom, boom. That looks great. But one thing you got to remember is your distance will make a huge factor. Let me show you. And then I'll tell you how to get past that. Let's see if I can do this. Okay, we're doing the same groups now. It's not even that. It was just finger manipulations. Right? So you notice when I make a video or when I actually plan what kind of moves I want to do, I think about how big the move is compared to what I'm trying to capture. It's a totally different angle. When there's a big crowd, or when I need to when I'm far away from someone, you want to try to make big motions. This will communicate a little bit better. If you have your whole body extended and you're moving, even if you can't see the nunchuck, just that flow right there will look better than this. Well, I should say not look better because that's kind of relative. It'll just have more expression than if you're just doing this. Because from that far away, all they see is your body and just a little tiny bit of fire. But man, when I'm close to here, body motion doesn't mean as much. Matter of fact, I can get in the way. I can be like, hey, what's up? Goodbye. Whoa. But if I do my finger manipulations, and I do all my like close in hyper style motions, looks great now, you know? So what I'm trying to say is have a battle plan for the kinds of moves that you want to do if you plan on being a performer. So hopefully that makes a little bit of sense. As you go farther out, I feel the farther away I am, the more I want to extend and use my body. The closer I am, I'm going to tell you now, it's okay. It's okay if you don't move your body as much. It's okay if I'm right here in the camera. If I just keep it here. Perfectly all right. Perfectly all right. But back there, or farther away, the audience is going to want to see the connection, I feel. Remember, take what I say with a grain of salt. If you disagree, good. I want you to disagree. I want you to figure it out on your own. Because no matter what I say, it doesn't matter unless you actually like understand it in your own way. So yeah, no matter what I say, just remember that. Just if you have a question, do it. Just check it out. All right, let's see. Next. It's okay. Whoops. You can right here. I can hear the ding, the ding ding. So yeah, yeah, that's great. So if you want, you can totally message me on Facebook too, and I'll be. I have the Flowtricks discussion Facebook group open. If you can like post to that, I'll be more than happy to answer questions there too. Otherwise, I'm going to keep continuing with what we were talking about. But if you have any questions, please send me a message because I'm really enjoying this. I'm really enjoying this. Let's see. How do you do the move we named the hooker? I can do it. What was that? It was where we hooked it. I'm not checking YouTube. No, I'm not checking YouTube, am I? Give me a second. Discussion Facebook group open. If you can. All right. There's going to be a brief delay while I look at what's going on Facebook or YouTube. God. I'm really glad that this is working. I can't remember, Enrico, about that thing that we talked about called the hooker. I remember we hook it and we blast it with something, but I can't remember what it was. Speaking of blast, sometimes it's fun. This is something you can play with too. It's just blasting your nunchucks. And what I mean is like doing a stall and just kicking it. The best way to do it, if you're gonna like kick or hit something, is to hit it right below the balancing point. So if I use my elbow to hit it, I'm gonna hit it right below the balancing point. So we're gonna find that balancing point, boom, and say, I'm gonna up there. We're gonna hit it right below there. So it is kind of fun to just take a move and drop it. Yes. Actually, let's try it again. Boom. And just smack it with your leg, smack it with your arm. Get ready. If it's foam, you can punch it. Yeah, good times. I don't know. Something's wrong with me. All right, let's see. So, let's go back to some more of these training tips. If you have more questions, please contact me, Enrico. I'm sorry, I forgot what that move was. If I can remember, though, I'll definitely show you. So, from the beginning, of course, because I keep reviewing it because I see more people come on. From the beginning, the first thing you want to do is find good music. Okay, now if you're used to your music, that's great. You may want to try different music so you can discover different techniques, because if you let the music control you, if you let the music move through you, you may actually realize some of the techniques that you've been working on, the music alone may unlock the puzzle to another way that you could do it. So definitely like explore all different kinds of music. Of course, there's location over here. Like I said, you can even use your environment. Speaking of using your environment, let me show you that trick that I did in the Ninja Turtle video, because I know you're curious. So, what we're going to do is I'm going to hold it with my left hand, and I'm going to be doing bounces from my bicep to my waist, like so. Boom, boom. Usually I'll be kneeling or towards the floor. What we're going to do this time is my hand is actually going to pinch across the bottom of this swivel. Will this work with chain or with rope? It may work with rope. The swivel is actually going to be more of your friend on this one, but it may kind of grind your hand a little bit if you do it too hard. So back, forth like this. Once it taps the side of your waist, your hand is going to touch the edge of the swivel like this, and your left hand is going to come down to the ground, and you're going to push it just like this. From here, your hand's going to swirl in a circle, and that's going to create the motion of the chuck to rotate around. And then as soon as it gets over to about 9 o'clock, your other hand's going to grab it and pull it out. Now this has ridges, so this may actually fly off, but it may look something like this. Kind of helps if you like to move your hand way out of the way. So it's something to try though, because if you have an environment around you, one thing I would love to do, and I've yet to do it yet, is make some sort of like parkour environment for nunchucks. I think that'd be really cool, you know, where it could just be like here, and hitting it, and making it like maybe doing this, and we'd smack it and it'd fly in the air with an aerial, and we'd catch it and knock this thing sideways and do some Jackie Chan stunts. This is what I need you guys for. This is what I need you guys for. I need you guys to figure out, okay, so if I'm doing this motion here, what can we do from this point? One thing about Flowtricks too is as I like teach the new moves, eventually we're going to have user trees, which is like a branch of techniques that users have discovered, because there's no way I can discover all these moves on my own. The truth is I've just been a scientist for a while with the nunchucks, so I've been discovering moves for a while, but that clearly like I have a limited amount of knowledge compared to everyone out there. So if we all like keep combining all of our techniques together and moves, we'll just have a vast, unlimited amount. Fairly certain of that. But yeah, so I'm going to share with you that idea that I have, and one of you guys can hopefully take it farther. So we do things like this. and then we can smack it into an aerial, into the air, and we can catch it, and we can grab something and flip it over, and basically become more Jackie Chan-like with nunchucks. I think that that would be a really cool style. Tell me what you guys think. Cool or what? Let me, I see that we have some messages, so I'm going to go check really quick here. Hey, Steve, what's up, man? Good to see you. Good to see you. Well, see your name. Give me just a moment while I catch up with some of these questions here so I can answer for you guys. Okay. Thanks for the heads up. Yeah, for sure, for sure. I think we've only got about 10 minutes left, but I might extend it a little bit longer. Right now you're saying, Steve says, I'm still having trouble with the infinite horizontal X catch. And I'll tell you why. It's because it's not an easy move at all. The infinite horizontal X catch is a pain. You can break it down into two parts though. And I kind of said I would teach the infinite horizontal at the end of the class too. So I definitely want to. I'm going to teach the infinite horizontal, and I'm going to check and see if you guys have any more questions for me. We're going to do 2 front grips for the infinite horizontal, okay? Now, if you remember right, the normal X catch is a front grip and a back grip. Both the hands cross over this direction, which is on the wall plane, and that pressure causes it to swing past one another, and your arms basically create an X. Actually, this is the original reason why I called it an X catch, is because I was like, oh, my hands are making an X, right? But as it goes on, it's actually not an X catch anymore. I probably shouldn't call it that, because this motion doesn't make an X. But, you know, whatever. I actually feel like the X catch is a very advanced series. The good news is, if you have the X catch is very good for tech nunchucks. So when I say tech chucks, it's going to be like all the inside catches and turns that you can do inside of the body. With the shorter nunchuck, you can actually do it closer, and you can do some moves that you can't do with this 12-inch chuck. Here's how the infinite works. Left hand is, right now we're in an overhand grip with the left hand, elbow points towards the sky. Right hand, overhand grip, elbow points towards the ground. It's very important that you imagine that you're going to have to realize that your elbows are going to switch directions. So they go from here to here. This one's in the sky and this one's towards the ground. My shoulder's still a little messed up, so I can't get it perfect yet. So here, our X catch is going to go horizontally. So we're not going across this way. We're actually pulling it. I'm actually pulling this across the back of my fist. So all you're going to try to do is to use your right hand and aim for the back of your fist, and it's going to roll through. Okay? I wish I could do this slower, but at the moment you let go, it's got to move. So basically, what we're trying to do is we're trying to do the same thing where it's crossing past the back of our fist, but this time it's still crossing past the back of our fist. See that? I don't know if you can see that or not. It's still crossing across the back of my fist this way. And it's just because I have my elbow up and the other one down that it allows me to do it that way. And once we come across this way, I just open up my hand and it's going to cause it to move horizontally. Now what's going to happen is the horizontal motion, it actually has to clear a little bit more. It's got to clear all the way around to here. So it's actually spinning quite a bit more. It's doing 180 degrees all the way over to here. So if you even want to think about this, if you have your left hand up and your right hand down, just let go of your left hand for a second. Imagine if I'm doing the X sketch, it's going to flip all the way over to here. Bam. And you could do the same thing with this hand too, because as this crosses over, this one, the one in the back, if you let go of this one, the one in the back is going to roll all the way to the front like that. So it's a big roll. It goes a lot farther than this X sketch. The reason why it goes farther is because my arms are in the way, so I can't possibly go any farther. But when my elbows, one's up, one's down, it actually creates a clearance for it to keep going. Practice that. That's going to be your first start though. Left elbow up, right elbow down. I'm going to like over-exaggerate it just so you can see it a little better. Left elbow up, right elbow down. I'm going to come across, boom, like that. Now watch, my right hand is going to lead. The one that's by my armpit is going to lead. I'm going to pull it out to where I'm in 2 underhand grips. This is a really good place to be. Just get it to that point first. 2 overhand grips, up, down, cross, pull it, keep pulling it until you're in 2 underhand grips. You notice I changed grips. It's a great way to change grips too, by the way. So now you're in 2 underhand grips. You're going to do the exact opposite. This elbow goes up, this elbow goes down. You're going to cross it through in the exact same way. It's going to take some time to practice that, But if you get the right technique, at least, I think you can feel it. And just do it one at a time. Like I said, if you have any problems. I know it's a lot more to think about, because essentially, as you're doing the move, if I just let go of one end, this is going to rotate all the way over to there. So this chuck over here, just remember this chuck over here has to rotate quite a bit more than a regular X catch does. Underhand grips, boom. And of course, when you do two of them, you're back to moon waves. Whereas Troy pointed this one out too. This is really fun. If you do one infinite X catch, you can set your pinky fingers up to do a moon wave. Pinky finger moon wave. Thumb finger moon wave. So the regular one, we'll do the regular moon wave. One elbow up, one elbow down. You do it one time. Of course, you're in two underhand grips, and then it'll allow you to do your pinky fingers to moon wave. You can catch it that way. I hope that answers the question. Let me check here and see. I got a message. Oh, it's Cooper. I was wondering if you had any quick tips for use of wrist roll and reverse wrist roll while spinning 180 and 360 if you have time. Okay. Cooper was wondering if I had any quick tips for using a wrist roll and reverse wrist rolls for spinning 180 and 360 for footwork. If I think I know what if I think I understand the question right, I think what he's asking is, like, how can I use wrist rolls as I spin my body? And this is really good because a lot of times when you're doing a showcase or a fire, like if you're demonstrating fire to a huge group of crowd, a huge crowd, it's those things that they're going to notice a lot, because once they can't see those little intricacies like we went over before, like as you do your manipulations back here, as you do your manipulations back here, it makes much less of an effect the farther away you are to your audience. The best thing I can say is, when you first start, if you want to start working on getting more footwork, first start with a reverse figure eight wrist roll, standing into it, and then as soon as you cross over your body, turn 180 degrees with it and do your reverse roll. Okay, let me explain this better. I'm sorry. So you're doing a reverse figure eight wrist roll like so. As soon as you come across to the side that you're going to turn to, you can do a back. You can actually exchange it with a quick back to front or a front to back. So anytime you do a wrist roll, in order to do a footwork, it's really simple. If I just sweep over to one side, all I have to do is change my grip one time. I just have to do a back to a front or a front to back as I switch over. Hopefully that makes a little bit of sense. Because right now, look, if we go in slow motion, if I'm just doing a regular figure eight wrist roll, here's the front to back, here's the back to front. Front to back, back to front. Now if I want to do that with footwork, I have to figure out a way to keep a really good get a really good transition between that point. And the transition is actually, I guess, really the transition is just stretching that back to front or front to back as it translates over, all the way over. So it's more like an extension. I apologize. I'm breaking this apart as we talk. I haven't really had a lot of questions on the actual movement of it. But I can tell you this. If you practice your circular spins too, this is going to help you a lot. For instance, remember this one, we kind of worked on this one here. Because if you're not sure how to start a motion off, or if you just need to create something big, this is, I think, one of the basics on Nunchaku tricks. It's just a circular spin. You take it to 9 o'clock, take it to 12 o'clock, and spin your body around. And this will allow you to do rotations without wrist rolls to begin with. As you do your wrist rolls, you want to think of points like a clock. So you have 6, 12, 9, 3, basically. And those are almost always the points where you take the motion. You don't take the motion anywhere else except for in those points. Either at 12 o'clock, 6 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 9 o'clock. Those are all like points on a clock where you can bend it. So again, I guess, hopefully this is going to answer your question a little bit better though. But the answer is quite simply, you just have to figure out, as you're doing a wrist roll, as you're crossing over to the same side, you have to figure out how to extend it all the way over. I'm going to do it very slowly, and hopefully this will make more sense. Back to front, front to back, back to front, front to back, back to front, front to back, back to front, front to back. So it's an extension that creates it. If I don't extend my hand, I'm stuck here. But if I do the same wrist roll and I extend it and I pull it, over here, then all of a sudden it almost like makes me move that direction. I don't have a choice once I have that extension in. The only way I can go is into this wrist roll. So if you want to start to get the feel for it, do your back to front and front to back. Stop thinking of it like a wrist roll right now. Just think back to front, front to back, and then figure out how you can extend it. No matter which way you extend it, whether it's behind your body or in front of your body, as long as you extend it, by the time you get done with that wrist roll, it's going to want to start doing the opposite one because you've crossed over your body. Another thing that you can do, of course, is just start working on your aerials that make you move your body. For instance, if I'm doing this one, the behind the back, which we just covered, and anything that makes you want to move. If you're not even sure, you can even just clutch and do a little bit of steps. I also tend to like the horizontals a lot, too, that one. You can even just do a roll to a back grip, of course, and you can just do a spin this direction to a back front, like that. What was that exactly was just simply, if I just do regular wrist rolls across my body, as soon as I get to a back grip though, I'll actually just let it spin. And I'll just spin with it, that. So check it out. We're gonna do another motion, one that's really simple to do. We're gonna go off the horizontal wrist roll. So if you don't know the horizontal wrist roll, this may be slightly challenging, but essentially you're doing the same thing, front to back, back to front. When you do a front to back though, hold your hand up like this, and this will allow you to spin your hip. You can go back. A lot of it's also in your pivot and in your body work, in your footwork. For instance, here's the same move. Here's the same move, but without the accentuation. It'll look like this. Even if I do it fast. But if you take your body and move with it, I just did the exact same move. I just connected it with my body. So, kind of what we were going over earlier when I was talking about the footwork and how we're doing this motion here, and we're trying to see if we can connect it down to our toes. It's the same thing with this motion too. If you don't connect with your toes, you won't have the force of your feet behind it. But if you do, even if I go at the same speed, you're going to have just a lot more to it. Watch my other hand too. It's kind of bent. It doesn't. If it sits here, it'll make a big difference. And if it's here, even this is a big difference than this. Or worse yet, this. I hope that makes sense. I am going to finish off the questions that we have and then see what we got here. So I have 4 more questions. That was a really good question. Okay, anti-spins. Yeah, anti-spins are awesome. I don't have enough time to do anti-spins, but anytime you want to throw in an anti-spin, it's great for a crowd if they're far away again, just because when a crowd is far away, they don't see your techniques. All they see is your pattern. Let me repeat that again. When you perform for a crowd, they don't know your techniques. They only know your patterns. You're like a spirograph, right? Now, you might be interested in all the little shapes and the different types of pens, but ultimately, all the audience sees is what you draw. So whatever you draw, it's just like with nunchucks. It's whatever you draw is what they're going to see. So try not to get too caught up in the technique, but look at the pattern it creates, you know, in relation to your body and in relation to the air, the trails that it creates. I think you'll find that you'll have 2 different outlooks. You'll have a method of spinning that you use for yourself to connect to yourself and to be more like empowered in that way. And then you're going to have a method of spinning where you're going to do it for the audience to captivate them and to draw pictures so they can like relate and feel what you're doing. Sean, that's funny. The most relevant question is, when was the last time I got a haircut? And I will say that I like my hair. It's good. The crazy thing about my hair is I'm about ready to cut it off, and then what happens is before I do a big show, I get it straightened. And so it looks like I look like a Asian pop star when it's done right, but when it's not, it's just like all over the place. So when I do shows, it looks really good, and you'll see some of the profile pictures. It just looks like a totally different person. But then in daily life, if you get it wet at least once, the whole thing just disappears, and it just looks like this big shaggy mess. So I guess I just kind of keep it because I like the way it does for shows, because when you straighten it out, this is just a performer thing, I guess. When you straighten it out, and I go there, and I have fire out there, and I have my hood down, and the hair is just draping over my face, but it's not like this big wiry mess, but it's like, it's just spilling in very straight lines. It looks really badass. It looks like some sort of movie. I feel like some sort of action movie star. But when when it's not done, it's actually, yeah, it really, sometimes it really bugs me, and I want to cut it all off, but I guess I just like it so much in the performance world that I choose to keep it. So, plus my girlfriend really likes long hair, so there it is. Ken, how do you keep from repeating the same 6 or 7 tricks? This is a good question. This is a really good question. And your answer to that is to, there's a lot of different ways, and I actually was going to create something for that, but you can do it without me creating it. Here's what you do, okay? If you're doing the same 6 or 7 tricks, write those tricks down on a note card, right? Just write down just 3 or 4 techniques a piece, or maybe even 2 techniques. Write them down on a note card, and what I want you to do is start writing down the other techniques that you know that you don't do. And then I want you to shuffle the cards up, and I want you to pull out 4 cards and make it work. This is going to force your mind into new avenues. And do it like 10 times at least, maybe 20, maybe 50 times, okay? Essentially what you want to do is make your mind go outside of its box by simply scrambling it up a little bit. And it's really simple if you have flashcards. Just write them down on flashcards, shuffle it up, make sure you have techniques that you don't do mixed in with it. Pull them all together, pull out 3 or 4 cards, and make yourself figure out, like a puzzle piece, how you can chain those together. Not only will that help you, it'll give you infinite possibilities for the combos that you already know. You'll be constantly challenging yourself. You can even put in like pieces of cards that might say jumping or spinning. All of a sudden you have to do a jump spinning wrist roll. You know, what the hell is that? You know? But that's what you want to do is basically figure out ways to break out of your box. Another thing that I was talking about, of course, was changing the music up. If you listen to different music, it may also make you listen to the music and try to figure out how you can move with it. It may give you new techniques as well. Myself personally, what I like to do is break it into styles. You know, I have hyper style, snake style, you know, face plane, aerial style. So if you think of styles like martial arts, you can associate certain moves with certain ones. Like when I think of hyper style, I think of bounces like crazy, right? So the moment I go into hyper style, I'm just doing bounces. I'm not thinking about throws too much or anything else like that. If you start breaking yourself up into different styles, it's kind of like associating it. So the moment you think of a style, you may have already associated 5 to 10 moves to that style. And then if you're stuck with that, just keep it to that style and say, well, today I'm going to create a new style. I'm going to do a one hand behind my back style. And I'm going to figure out new moves to that. And then you can start associating that. It's just like with martial arts. You see how Kung Fu has so many branches of it. But I mean, we all have arms and legs too, right? But the fundamental difference is the moves that they focus on and their flavor. So that's kind of what I want you to do, is either go to flashcards and see if the flashcards help, or start creating a style and doing the flavor thing, you know, like just creating different elements and flavors. And then you two can just have your own style, basically. Okay, someone says I look like Jack Sparrow. Hey, stop laughing. Oh man. I must have said that at the perfectly wrong time. The girls are laughing at me now. Thank you. You nailed it, Ken. Yeah, definitely, Cooper. I will definitely give more notice next time I go live. I think one nice thing is all this is going to go on YouTube. I assume when I'm done, it's going to upload to YouTube. So if you did miss anything, you'll see it. But probably about the first 20 minutes, I'm just fumbling around trying to figure out how to work this thing. But this was kind of a test because I didn't quite know if this was going to work at all. Like I had no idea that this was going to work at all. So I was frame issue. Hold on. I'm sorry, I'm reading. Framing issue, framing issue. Okay, sorry about that. I'm just checking it out here. Okay. So I guess we're going to close by saying a few things. I'm just taking a look here and seeing just one more moment here. First and foremost, thank you, everyone. Like, I think this may be like definitely something I want to keep going with in the future is live streams. I'll try to get it down better. You know, this is like the first time, so it's kind of messy today. But I'll try to get it better next time. So that way I can figure out who's chatting and where they're coming on, and I'll also put a ton more notice. The thing is I didn't give as much notice is because I'm kind of testing this out today. I have no idea how this was going to work. I'm kind of glad it did work, though. It just kind of took a little bit of time. If you have any more questions, though, definitely send me a Facebook message. And if I have to answer quickly, I'm going to try to use the webcam a lot more because I can just record and go and then leave and upload it, and that's fine. Usually when I do the other, the professional camera thing, it just takes hours and hours. So it's slowing down like my ability to make videos, but I really like this webcam because it comes in quickly. So official Flowtricks videos will probably still done with high quality, but when I just need to get something out there, or if I just want to live stream, I think it's going to be the webcam. It's really awesome. Thanks again for everyone for watching this first live stream. If you have any questions at all, of course, send me a message. And yeah, keep spinning. Show me what you got. Sayonara.